All right, can you guys hear me now? Let me know if you can. I think I had a mute button. So I hope it's working now because I hear it. It's hot. So let me know if you can hear me. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to turn down the volume here. Right. Again, as always, we do have a delay. And so if you ask questions, just be patient. I will get to it as soon as possible. Awesome. By the way, some of you were asking me why I do black and white. It just feels weird having full color. I feel like I'm hiding behind it. So at least I don't feel like I'm right there in front of you guys. So anyway, we're going to begin here shortly. If you're just arriving, I just want to make sure everyone arrives because it's going to be like a, you need to be here from the start because if you join in the middle of it, you'll miss a lot of it. So I want to make sure I give plenty of time for everyone to arrive because once we hit go, it's going to be tough. What's up? We have Ali, Anand, I'm not sure, Edward, Thomas, hello. Paulo, is it Brazil? I'm pretty sure I remember you. Nico, we have Andres. Well, black and white is a good choice. I like it because, again, I feel like I'm hiding behind a curtain or something, so it definitely makes me feel good. Paulo, you're from Brazil, right? I remember exchanging emails with you. My memory is not that great. Ace, welcome. Again, if you're just now arriving, I'm just waiting for everyone to arrive before we get started, and then we'll go ahead and go. Estonia, welcome from Estonia. Yes, Brazil, Paulo, I remember you. I hope you were able to find a job. I remember you were in the search for one. Jamin Patel. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. So welcome. Hello. Ukraine. Anton from Ukraine. Welcome, Anton. I have a brother named Anton, so I know that name very well. Dario Kraus. Sorry, man. I hope I pronounced the name right. Let's see. Rick Ellis. That's my man right here. What's up? Welcome, Rick. All the way from West Palm Beach. Francis, welcome. Edward, welcome. Adham, I'm not sure if I'm... Andrei Sholka, welcome. All right, we're going to begin here shortly. I just want to make sure everyone arrives before we start because it is, you want to be here from the beginning. And I think we're getting some numbers here, so we're still waiting. Okay, and today, let me switch to... 1 second. By the way, I will go over some stuff like I'm going to use a product that we came up or that I wrote here with the help with Tim Thiessen and a few other folks. And this script, this script is basically going to help us create this modular lower third. It's nothing crazy, but I find it super useful and I think you will too. And I know I promised a tutorial when I released it. I promised everyone that I was going to do a tutorial. And one guy this morning called me out on it. In fact, here he is. Let me pull it up. There you go. It was Adam. He basically asked me when I was going to do the tutorial, and I felt guilty. I completely forgot about it. So Adam, if you're here, I apologize. I'm going to tackle it right now. So I decided to, this morning, go ahead and just do a live stream about it. So that way I don't have to worry about doing a tutorial, recording, all that stuff. It does take time. So we're going to do that. And by the way, if you want to purchase the script, you just go to ukramedia.com/smartREKT. And you can do that there. In fact, let me slide. Here you go. But you don't need it basically it just saves you time with the smartREKT. I'm going to show you here in a second how to work it. But let's go to After Effects for a second. All right, so we are in After Effects. And this is where I'm going to show you how to create. Just a simple one-liner. Nothing crazy. It's going to come in and come out. It is modular, so you can go over here and select characters. And you can scale things. And it does adjust. Like it will adjust everything, and then you can go to controls, and we do have some options in here. You can create gaps, on the sides like so, and you can also create gaps on the I put y-axis right here, y padding, I guess. You can create it, make it small, super big. So I'll kind of show you the basic. Again, I'm not going to show you a whole lot, obviously, because we don't have time. But obviously, we also have rounding corners, but I'm going to show you everything that I'm showing you now. So, but again, if you want to learn more, I am working on an expression course, and in that course, I will show you how to basically how to show, create all this stuff, the modular lower third kit, all that stuff from scratch. We're gonna go over the expressions and all that jazz. In fact, let me show you something else here. I'm gonna go to, let's go, yeah, I do have this modular lower third in here. I think it's in here, all right. And I've gone over that in a previous live streams. Basically, we're gonna do this right here. Hold on, that, not the comment, hold on a second. This streaming thing is pretty cool. All right, so we're in After Effects. So I'm gonna show you how to do this in the course. So it's a lot more beefed up. This one right here. So it's a lot more beefed up. We have all these options. We have all these controls. Like, it's a lot more what I'm gonna show you today. But it will kind of give you the taste of what I'm gonna be doing. So again, if you're just now arriving, I haven't started. I'm just kind of showing you what I'm gonna go over. So I will start here in a second. And again, I'm gonna go back to After Effects. And in here, we're gonna be creating this kind of stuff. So if you guys are ready, I will dive in. Colombia, Alexander from Colombia, welcome. Sam, Jamin, we have a lot of people here. Rick is still here. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna go make sure I'm in the right, I'm in After Effects, okay. All right, so I have a free, or like a clean sheet here, and I do have just a background right here. So I'm going to start out by clicking on this smartREKT. And if you don't have it, again, I know it's kind of a plug-in thing that I'm plugging the script that we have, but the reason why I'm doing this tutorial, because again, someone called me out this morning, this guy right here, and he did tell me to do a tutorial in a way, or he was asking for one, so I want to do it via live stream. So again, this thing you can purchase. It's pretty easy to use. It's similar to shape layer right here. You just click on it, and you have this kind of set up. You can control the size of it. You can kind of set where the anchor point is. So you can, right now it's at the bottom left. So right here, and then you can go to center. You can extrude from the center. So it gives you more options than obviously a regular shape tool that would give you. So I'm gonna go to bottom left and just keep it right here. And again, it's pretty simple. And next, what I'm gonna do is create a null into my composition. By the way, if I'm losing you, throughout this presentation, you let me know. Let me know in the comment, and I'll try to look down and see if if you have any questions. So again, just so you know. All right, so we have this shape layer that I created using smartREKT. I mean, it's pretty easy. If you had to do it with a shape tool, you'd have to do a few other setups to kind of get things rolling. But with smartREKT, just simple click, you can adjust, the roundness, all that stuff. I think I've gone over it before, but if you missed it, it's a pretty cool tool. Again, you can get it at ukramedia.com/smartREKT. But in here, so I have smartREKT, and then I'm going to do Control, Alt, Shift, and then Y to create a new null into my composition. And I'm going to rename this to Controls. Okay, and then I'm going to select this smartREKT shape. And as you can see, I'm moving it around. But when you hold down Shift and then pick whip to the control null, whoops, I accidentally clicked. You can see that it snaps whatever, it snaps the origin of the smartREKT right on the center of the, like this control null. So it kind of automatically snaps it for you, which is pretty cool. So if you have stuff floating, you can just shift parent to the shift pick whip to the controls, and it'll do that for you. So it's a cool, I use that shortcut all the time. It's such an awesome thing. Friends, welcome. All right, so we have that set up. Basically, if I grab this control, you can see that it grabs the shape layer. Next, I'm gonna do a text. I'm gonna just type Sergey, or actually let's do ukramedia, ukramedia.com. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing again, shift and then pick whip, hold down shift and pick whip to the controls, and I'm gonna put it at the top. So right now they're all, it's important to point out that they're all, if I select two of them and hit P, you can see the origin, position origin is all the same, it's 0, 0. Now, even though they're all in the same place, the origin of the control null right here is different. But because these two are parented to this null, they their origin becomes the null's origin. I know it's kind of complicated, but I hope you guys are getting it. If you are lost, let me know. I will try to explain it a bit more. But that's essentially what I'm doing. So now that I have them linked up, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the smartREKT right here, hit E to kind of see my options, to see what I'm seeing here in the timeline. And then I can adjust the size of it here. So I can alt click on the stopwatch. In fact, before I do that, I'm going to select this and hit S twice on my keyboard. So letter S on your keyboard twice to solo it. And then alt click on the stopwatch, hold Alt and then click, I'm sorry, I don't have the shortcuts, but I know it's helpful when you see it. And then I'm going to extend this window a little bit. So in here, I'm going to define a variable. I'm going to say text. Let's do text width. I'm kind of coming up with stuff on the fly here. So I'm going to pick whip to the text here, and then I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to say period source. I'm going to use a function called smartREKT. I'm sure a lot of you, if you've seen my stuff, you know what I'm talking about. So smartREKT at time, and then I'll want width. So essentially what I'm doing with this function, I want the width of that text. So I point it to that text and I say, hey, give me the width of that text. And when I let go, you can see it's going to adjust my smartREKT right to the width of my text. So far, I think you guys are following me. All right, so now that Brooke, oh man, welcome Brooke. Brooke, my coworker from Fox Sports, just tuned in, man. Such a talented guy. Miss you, man. Welcome. So I have this text right here, and I can scale it down, up. So you can see it adjusting perfectly, so which is awesome. So that's what we did here first. Now I'll do the same thing. I'm going to collapse this down for the Y as well. So I'm going to hit S twice to solo it, Alt click on the stopwatch to activate the expression, and drag this down a little bit. So in here, the same thing. I'm going to do text, and I'll do height this time. And the same thing, I'll point to our text. And again, this time I'm going to grab the height instead of the width. So I'm going to say period source rect at time, and then I'll say height. If I let go, it's going to do the exact same thing. And again, if I go over here and try to change the size, of my text, okay, you can see that it's working. By the way, if you select the size over here, the scale property, you'll see that it's not working. It's important that you don't do that here. You do it here. I know it's weird, but it's different. So just so you know, if you're experiencing some stuff, it's probably because you're changing it in here. Sitting at your desk. Brooke, man, good to hear from you, for sure. All right, so far you guys are getting it, I think. Sorry, Raj. I'm sorry, man. Welcome. Fabian, welcome. All right. Error message missing. Yeah, I use Knockout font, but I mean, you use your own font, so you don't have to use that font. All right, so everyone's caught up to this. So right now we just set up this smartREKT that you can purchase at ukramedia.com/smartREKT, and basically we adjusted it here now. It kind of starting to look like a lower third. You know, we can adjust, the size of it right here, like we've done before, and it's going along with it. But now, I want to create gaps in here. So how do I do that? So I'm going to go back to the controls here, and I'm going to create two sliders. So you can go to expression controls and click on slider, and you can Control D, duplicate it twice. So I'm going to rename this one to X pad. Basically, it's just a padding. And that one's going to be Y pad, so like a Y axis pad. So on the Y axis and X axis. So I hope that's making some sense here. So I'm going to go back to here to smartREKT, and I'm going to go to both of these, hit S, select both of them, hit S twice on your keyboard to solo it. So that way it kind of cleans things up for you. Let me pull this up so you can see better. All right, this time for the X, right here for the X size. So we're going on the X axis right here. I'm going to do the following. So I'm going to create a new variable, and this time I'm going to label it, let's do X pad. And this time I'm going to pick whip to that X pad right here. So I'm going to go from here, pick whip to the X pad. So we have it there. So now we can use it right here. So I hope you understand the whole variable concept in the expression world. Basically, I just create it with a made up name and I attach something to it. It's kind of like grouping. It's nothing crazy. It's basic. Instead of me typing that over and over, I'm just using a variable. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to say text width. So our width right here, instead of typing this whole thing, I'm just using this variable. And I'm going to say plus this X pad. So I'm going to say X pad. And when I do that, watch what happens. So nothing happens, obviously, because the X pad is set at 0. But when I drag it, you can see that it's extending stuff. So we're getting somewhere with this. So now we are getting a padding on here, but I want it to be on both sides. So to fix that, we'll have to do the same thing. I'm going to copy this actually for right now, Control C, and I'm going to go to the position of this ukramedia text. So I'm going to hit P to view the position, Alt or right click, and then do separate dimensions. So when you do that, you'll see X by itself and then Y by itself. It'll help you some. So again, we have X by itself and then y by itself. So now I'm going to alt click on the stopwatch right here for the X position. And in here, I'm going to paste that variable we just created in the previous example. So it's just the X pad and it's pointing to that variable right here. So I hope so far everyone's caught up. Yes and no. It wouldn't be, well, I guess it would be. The only thing controller can't do is you can't link from the effects. And I'm still trying to figure out, there's some weird glitch that I can't figure out. But yeah, it kind of, I'm fixing that, but you can't link from the effects. You can do it from the layer properties, any of them, you're fine. But it's just, for some reason, the effects, there's some weird glitch in the script, which I'm trying to figure out. But it's a good question. Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill, is that North Carolina? Anyway, all right, so back to this. So now I have this, and as you can see, as soon as I pasted that, you can see that my text shifted, because right now it's grabbing this number right here. But I want half of it, so I want that text to be in the center. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do xpad, which is the same thing what it's doing now, nothing crazy. And then I'll say divide by 2. When I do that, it's going to place it in the center. So now when I go over here, when I move it, it always stays center. So I hope that's, whoops. All right, I hope that's making sense. So I'm going to shift this a little bit over here. Everyone's caught up. Tennessee. I grew up in Tennessee, Tri-Cities. Kingsport, Tennessee, that's where I grew up. All right, so we have this set up, the x-axis. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing for the y-axis. So I'm going to go to y position right here, alt-click on the stopwatch, and then this time I'm going to say, so we're on the y-axis, I'm going to say y-pad, and I will link it to this right here. So now we have that, and I'm going to do the same thing, y-pad. Watch what's going to happen. It's going to probably go the opposite direction, so watch this. Yeah, but before we do that, actually, I'll get back to this one for a second. Before we do that, we need to set up the smartREKT. So I'm going to go inside here again, and this time we're going to do Y size. Select that, hit S twice to solo it, and this time, so we have the width on the Y-axis. We set it up to where it grabs the text width or height. I'm sorry, and now it's exactly the same size as our shape. Or I guess text, in other words. So now what I'm going to do is create those padding, and to do that I'm going to do a variable, so y-pad. Again, the same thing we just did with the text, and this time I'm going to point to y-pad right here. And if I let go, obviously nothing, you know, something will happen, but it's not working. So this time I'm going to say text height plus y-pad, and if I let go, if I do this, you can see we're having some problems, but it's working. Now the reason why we're having problems is because y-pad right here that we just created, we need for that to be negative. So in other words, to reverse directions. Instead of going down, we want it to go up. So now if I go back to controls here, if I drag this, you can see it's working quite well. I hope everyone's picking up on that. Record this stream. I am recording this, and you can probably, you'll just come back to it. I might make it unlisted just so people tune in for the live broadcast, but I am recording it. Okay, so we kind of have it set up. Now the only problem, I want this text to be in the center on Y as well. So, and all I have to do, the same thing, just say divide by 2. In other words, give me the half of that gap. So that's why we're only going to have the half of it. So here you go. And essentially, we're pretty much there. So we have something like this. We can adjust the size here. And I mean, it's totally modular right now. So we can say Sergey, or let me do something different. Let's do Chapel, or is it, sorry, Chapel Hill. So you can see that it's working. Let's do media. I like the media part. Ukramedia, Chapel Hill, media. I think we have something in common. All right, so it is working, but how do we animate this thing now? And so this time, we're just gonna have to come up with, I'm gonna animate it on X-axis, so I'm not gonna do Y. So now we're gonna go back to our shape. By the way, everyone's caught up, everyone's understanding what I'm doing here. I hope I didn't confuse. It's basic stuff, but just a lot of repetitive stuff. And by the way, I'm only showing you the basics, and I will show you a lot more in our expressions course that is coming out in April. And the pre-release is going to come out on March 1st, I think. And then the whole thing is going to come out on April 16th, which is my birthday and my twin brother's birthday. So that's why that date is very important to us. So keep an eye out for that. So now we have all this set up. Next, we're going to do an animation. So I'm going to select another slider in here, and I'm going to go to, where is it at? expression controls slider, and in here I'm going to just name it animation. And essentially I want it to go from 0 to 100. So, but before we do that, let's set some stuff up in here. I'm going to hit E to reveal the effects, and we're going to go to X property. So I want to animate this shape on the X size. So I'm going to hit S twice to solo it, and then in here, so right now we have this whole thing kind of adjusting to the text and also to the gaps. So that's what this thing means. Now I'm going to put this in a variable. So I'm going to say lower third width. I know it's too much text, but just so you guys understand it. All right. So basically, that's this whole lower third on, you know, X axis. But what I want to do now, I'm going to use what's called like a linear function. So, all right, I might lose some of you on here. So I'm going to create a variable for animation. Basically, the slider we just created here. So that right there, I'm just going to attach it to this variable. Again, I'm just typing random stuff. It doesn't matter what kind of variable you have, as long as it's not like a JavaScript reserved word. So as long as it's something you make up, that's fine. So now I'm going to do this. I'm going to use a linear function. I'm going to say linear. And by the way, if you don't know linear function, I did a tutorial on it a while back. Definitely check it out. So in here, I'm going to say animation. Take the value from animation 0, starting at 0, all the way up to 100. And when it's 0, I want it to be 0 as well. And when it's 100, I want it to be this. In other words, this complete width, that size, whatever that size is. So I hope that makes sense. So right now, our slider right here is set to 0. But when it's 100, it's going to be exactly what we want. Watch this. So now we can animate this thing. All right, so I'm going to set a keyframe. In fact, let me select it, hit S twice to solo it. By the way, that's a trick. If you select it right here, the property that you want to see in here, just hit S twice on your keyboard and it's going to solo it right there. I guess you have to go in here. All right, so set a keyframe and then go shift page down about 20 frames or so, like that. Set another keyframe, and then I'm going to do Control Shift F9 to make it, is it easy ease in, easy ease out, whichever one it is. I always get it mixed up. And then Shift F9, easy ease out, or maybe it's the opposite. And then you'll do Control Shift K to bring up the keyframe velocity for that key right here. And I'm just going to bring up the influence to 75 to make it more smooth, I guess, at the end. So something like this. Well, you have to set it to 0, and then that one to 100. So watch this. So now we have something, right? It looks pretty cool. But obviously the text is kind of there. It's really awkward. So how do we get rid of it? So I'm going to go to, let me see, effects. By the way, I have this weird issue to where every time I click on effects, it like takes a few seconds to reveal. It only happens once, but once you do it, like it's fine. But in the beginning, it does that. If you have that and you know a fix, let me know. So I'm going to look for set matte, and basically what this one does, I'm going to put it right on top of my text, and in here I'm going to tell it to grab the alpha from the smartREKT. And when I do that, alpha channel right here, when I do that, it's basically like a mask. You know, instead of doing all that other stuff, it's such a quick thing. And so now when I do that, you can see that it's working quite well. Now it's still kind of boring because the text is not moving, and you definitely want it to move. By the way, how are we doing? Rick, welcome to the live stream, man. It's good to see you, everybody. Man, I know so many people on here. This is awesome. So I hope everyone's kind of following along what I'm doing here. I hope you're understanding. And if you're struggling, I'm sorry. Ask questions. I will get to it eventually. But we're almost there. We're basically at the last step. So right now we have this thing figured out. And then next what I'm going to do is animate the position. So when this thing reveals, we want to have slight shift in the text, kind of like this right here. So as you notice, yeah. So we're going to go back to this, and we're going to go back to the text right here, Chapel Hill Media, and then hit P to reveal the properties. And I'm going to go into position. So hit S twice to solo it. X position is what we want, and the same thing we did for the width we're going to do in here. So I'm going to set a variable, and I'll say X position. Oh, I can't use that because, yeah, let's do, I don't know, text position. I don't know. Hope that works. All right, so we have that, and then we're going to do linear function again. So I'm going to this time do another variable for animation like this, basically point to that animation, so we know that Yeah, there you go. Those keys, animated keys, I want them in the variable. So now I'm going to do a linear function again. So I'm going to say linear, and the same jazz again. Take the, you know, the value from animation, which is that right here, and then I want the lowest value to be 0, highest 100. And when it's 0, I want it to be 0 for right now. And when it's 100, I want it to be this. This right here. It's not good. Okay, paste that in here. All right, so now you can see that we do have slide shift, which is exactly what we want. But we can control that. Instead of it being 0 right here, we can set it to something more dramatic, like -400. Get rid of that 0, by the way. All right, so let's see what happens. So now you can see that it's working quite well. I mean, we still have some work to do, just tiny stuff. I mean, basically we're done. If that's all you wanted to learn, you can check out, man. You know, it's that simple. And the cool thing about this, you can obviously select the text. You can go to right here, character, and then adjust the size of it. Everything adjusts just fine. And if you want animate out, just create some other keyframes here and get it back to 0. Maybe that can be linear. This can be something like this. So basically adjust your influence. Kind of doing it quickly here. So anyway, you can animate out and it's going to do just fine. Like this. So it animates in and then it animates out. So again, very simple. Now you can do other things with the smartREKT. So we have some more options in here in the tool right there. So we can take the roundness and skew, for example. We can go back to the controls. Let me collapse these things. Okay, and then in here we can add some sliders. Let's go to expression controls, sliders, and then we can rename this one to roundness, and then skew, and then attach both of these to that. So we can do Alt, and then let's do Alt for both of them, and then just pick whip to roundness, and then skew. And so now you have all these controls in this null, and you can adjust, you know, the roundness. So you can have something like this, or you can give it a slide skew. You don't want to do too much. So again, it's a quick way to create like a simple lower third using smartREKT. And by the way, you can adjust the pad again. You can make something more dramatic, like maybe it's like a bug in the corner right here. You can even, but you can scale things with by scaling the null, or you can just scale the text. When you scale the text, things will scale down as well. But obviously you'll have to adjust the padding. But I try to keep things the same size. I like it that way. That way I know what the real size is, you know. So again, play with that, and I hope this made sense. If you guys have any questions, let me know right now. But as of right now, we are done with this presentation. I hope you thought it was fun and not difficult. But again, if you want to get smartREKT, you can go to ukramedia.com/smartREKT. And I want to thank everybody for your financial support. As you all know, I'm no longer with Fox Sports. I'm doing my own thing, and I appreciate all your support. You guys have been great, and thank you so much. Any questions so far? This is the time. So if you're just now tuning in, we are done. The presentation is over. I will have it posted later. It will be unlisted, but if you want a link, just hit me up, or you probably can trace the links. However you arrived here, you can probably trace it later, and you can watch it later. Ari, I think that's... by the way, I want to apologize for mispronouncing your names. Can't wait for the... Suzanne, thank you so much. Hey, I'm so excited about the course. I'm not going to lie, I'm nervous about it because I've never done a course before. This is my first one. I've done tutorials. You know, with tutorials, you can get away. With the course, you have to like present stuff from the beginning to the end, and it's impossible to hide your misperfections and stuff like that. So it's definitely nerve-wracking, but I'm excited about it. Murray Frost, welcome. Any questions, by the way? Again, we are done with the presentation. I know I'm going to try to keep things simple from now on for live streams. I'll try to do presentation as quick as I can, and then afterwards we can hang out for a little bit with any kind of questions that you might have. All right, so where is everyone from? Let me know. I know I saw some Brazil. I saw some Tennessee, Chapel Hill Media. Well, the course, by the way, if you're wondering, the course is, by the way, I'm going to put something up right here. There you go. And 3, 2, 1, boom. All right, you can go to expressions and sign up, but the course is going to be on expressions, and I am not expressionist. I don't have expressions like coding background. Like something I learned while doing real world projects at Fox Sports. I learned it. I don't know if well, it's just something I picked up. It wasn't something I really wanted to learn. It's just something I realized value in it, and I started learning it. Next thing you know, it clicked in my brain. But I am not that smart. I don't know. I don't know it all, but I have figured it out. I think I can show it to you guys in my simple way, and hopefully you will get it as well. So I'm excited about that. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Jennifer, I've been to Pittsburgh once, and I went around that stadium. Steelers, Pittsburgh, yeah, the Steelers stadium. It was kind of fun. A lot of steel, right? Jamaica, welcome. Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in, for always being so supportive. I really appreciate it. So again, if you're just now tuning in, we are done. This is just overtime. We're just talking, and not much is happening. So if you want to rewatch this, you can probably go back and watch it again. But other than that, we are finished with the presentation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Kenya, welcome. Karoon. One was enough. All right, Spain. Edward, where in Spain are you from? I used to live in Segur de Calafell, right outside of Barcelona. Las Vegas. No, Paula, the whole world is not here. But it does look like it. Spring Hill. Actually, I remember hearing about you, Chapel Hill. I remember talking to you once. I think, are you on our mentoring group? It sounds very familiar. I think I might have talked to you. Andrew, what's up? Welcome. Just having fun here on live stream. By the way, I'm wearing the LA shirt that I got from Fox Sports. By the way, if you don't like the shirts that I wear, you can send it to me. You can find about me over there, like our PO box. If you want to send a shirt, go for it. I'll wear it. All right, if you just now tuning in, again, I just want to remind you, our presentation is over. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're just in overtime talking. I see a lot of people in here. Madrid. Venezuela. That's awesome. My coworker from Fox Sports, Axel's from Venezuela. Great guy. Madrid. I've been to Madrid as well. Great city. More about the course. So the course, I'm going to explain some stuff for you. I'm going to go back into After Effects 1 second. And 3, 2, 1. This is so cool. Watch this. Boom. All right. So the course is going to be about the basics. We're going to talk about basically the expressions. We're going to start out talking about the interface, like a user interface in After Effects, all the buttons, all the jazz you need to know to get going. Because a lot of times you think expressions are so complicated, but really, if you know the basics and you have the right tools and resources, it's not that complicated. And hopefully with this course, that's what I'm going to explain to you. That's what I'm going to show you, that you don't need to know it all. Just like you don't need to know it all to drive a car. You just need to know the basics. And if something happens, you have a manual right there. You can look it up and go from there. You don't have to store all that jazz in your brain. It's going to make your brain explode. So in the course, we're going to talk about, obviously the basic. We're going to dive deep into JavaScript. And I know what you're thinking. JavaScript, it's a language, but trust me, it's not that bad. I promise you, it's not going to be that bad. And we're gonna talk about the basic stuff, and it'll make a lot more sense. But let me show you what's going to be in the course. We're going to wrap everything up. So I'll show you all the basics. I will show you, the basics of JavaScript, expressions, and user interface, all that jazz. But we're going to finish up with a line chart. This one right here. I'm going to show you how to do all that stuff, but we're going to talk about the JSON files. So everything is driven by just a external JSON file right here, but I'm not going to show you that just yet. I did it in a first stream we had, so you can go back. So I'm going to show you how to set everything up. Everything is modular about this thing. I mean, you can adjust anything in here really. And then we're going to talk about the Modular Lower Third, which is something we just created, but this one is loaded with a lot more stuff. Obviously, we'll talk about, you can turn off the logos and things adjust. We can turn off the title 2 and then title 1. Basically, if you've seen my Modular Lower Third kit that I'm selling on ukramedia.com/shop or whatever, it's the same thing. It's just I'm going to show you from the very beginning how to set things up. So it's going to be great. It's going to be exciting. It's going to make expressions seem very practical. It's not going to be a lot of math. I'll promise you that. I'm not all into generating like math stuff. It's just going to be showing you how to use basic math. And I mean, there'll be some, but not that much. I promise you. Alan, sorry. Hey, it's all right, man. It's going to be on. You can watch it again. You can probably fast forward right now and check it out. We just went over some stuff. We created this simple thing right here. Instead, we used Chapel Hill. Super cool name. Love from India. Okay, I'm going to go back to 1 second. Watch this. It's so cool. All right, so I'm going to stay on for another couple of minutes. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know this was like a last minute thing, and the reason why I started this live stream because of a guy named, I think it was Adam. He asked me this morning why I don't have, or where can he find the tutorial on how to use smartREKT, and that's something that I promised I was going to do, but I never got around to. And so I just wanted to tune in and do it live. Just didn't have the time to do a tutorial. So I hope you guys found this useful. Was this okay? Did you guys learn anything new? Do you want me to do more live streams or just hold on to the tutorials? Because if I can do live stream, not only last time I did live stream, I actually learned some stuff too. So it's not just a one-way thing. I learned so much from you guys. You correct me if I do something wrong. I'm using, so here's what I'm using. This thing right here. It's called OBS Studio. It's so cool because you can go over here. I have all these things. You can go live. Watch this, and you can, boom, transition into it, transition to that, go back to this. It's super cool. Now I can go back to that. Watch this. Boom. I love it. It's great. Anyway, let me go back to the cam. So yeah, it's OBS Studio. It's totally free. I just recently discovered it, and I think it's great. So I hope that answered your question. All right, guys. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, it was a last minute thing. And as always, my live streams are always last minute thing. Question. Yeah, I do enjoy live stream because I forget that you guys, sometimes I get so caught up in doing tutorials and I don't realize that people actually watch them. And when I hear from you guys, it's definitely a pleasure. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the comments and feedback. I appreciate it. All right. Well, I think I'm going to be done here. Again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to, I do want to plug in one thing. If you are looking for a community that's full of a lot of like talented folks. I mean, the community that we have at ukramedia.com/community. I mean, we have some talented folks like Rick and a lot of other people, and they're heavyweights in this industry. They do great things, in their jobs and stuff. And if you're just starting out and you want to learn a lot, you should definitely talk to a lot of those people on ukramedia.com/community. I mean, I've met so many good friends from there. Tim Thiessen, Roland, I mean, all of those guys, Rick. And it's just been a pleasure. It's like my coworkers. Anytime I have a question, it's a safe place. They're so helpful. They always help you, and it's just an awesome community. So I would definitely join if you're not a part of it. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Okay, I think we're done. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Sergey Kraknevsky, weird last name, but thank you for tuning in. And again, don't forget to go to ukramedia.com/community. But until next time, it's Sergey and ukramedia.com. Take care. That's pretty much it. Okay, I think we're done. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Sergey Kraknevsky, weird last name, but thank you for tuning in. And again, don't forget to go to ukramedia.com/community. But until next time, it's Sergey and ukramedia.com. Take care.